What is that noise? Another car, another noise. You know what that means. Hey friends, it's Len here from 1A Auto. In this video, I want to talk to you about replacing either your struts or even a complete strut assembly. Now, whichever way you decide, as long as you're replacing them as a pair, you shouldn't have much of an issue, but there are some things that you're going to want to think about. On most passenger vehicles, you're going to find that you have struts in the front of the vehicle. And on some passenger vehicles, you might even find that you have struts in the rear of the vehicle, as opposed to having shocks. So what are struts even for? Well, their main job is to keep the wheels firmly on the ground. Secondly, keeping the weight of the vehicle from shifting too much when accelerating, turning, or even stopping. And of course, there's the comfort aspect. I'd say that's up there on the job responsibilities list. So now let's talk about how to tell if your struts are bad, or I guess you could say a symptoms list. The first thing that I would probably notice is while I'm driving, when I tried to come to a stop, maybe it seemed like it took a little bit longer to stop. I already checked the brakes, I know they're good. Why would it take a little bit longer? Well, due to inertia. As I'm coming to a stop, the weight of the vehicle is going to start shifting forward. It's going to be using a lot more of the front brakes than the rear, and it's going to cause a lot more wear on the brakes overall. You might also happen to notice that while your vehicle is sitting still, it seems like it's slanting. It's either leaning to one side or the other, or even front to rear. Either way, it's really unsafe overall. Other than that, it could essentially make it feel like the front end's a little loose. You're going around a corner, you got a lot of sway, and it just kind of feels like the vehicle wants to sway a little bit more than what it should, making you feel unstable through that corner. You might find when you look at your tires, they look like they're worn oddly. If you have worn struts in the front, as things start to move around, going over bumps and such, it's going to change the alignment angles, causing uneven wear on your tires. While you're driving down the road and you hit a bump, you might find that the vehicle seems like it bounces up and down several times. Overall, it should only oscillate approximately 2, maybe 3 times, depending on the bump itself. But if it seems like it just goes boing, boing, boing down the road, that's not a good thing. Now let's say you have the wheel off and you can take a quick look at the strut itself. You can see that it looks like it has a whole bunch of accumulation on it. That means that the strut itself is no good. The gas has made its way out of there, and so has the oil. As the oil makes its way down the strut, it's going to start accumulating dirt and debris on it, and that's going to look like a big old gunky mess. You want to pay attention to the coil spring itself. That's the spring that goes all the way around that strut. They can be worn a little bit. Pay close attention all the way around the spring, from top to bottom. Sometimes you might find that the coating on it seems like it's worn away a little bit, and maybe you see some rust on that spring. That's not a good sign. Overall, it could be weak or even rotted to the point that it's ready to separate on you. Sometimes you might just find a big old crack, and at that point, you know it's no good. Now I want to talk to you about the differences between having only a strut or a complete strut assembly. Typically, if you're going to be replacing only the strut, you're going to have to reuse the old coil spring, you're going to have to reuse the old cap. Now, both of those things overall can get worn down over time, especially if the strut itself was bad. It's going to put extra pressure on that spring, causing more wear, and of course, up along that strut cap. Not to mention, inside the strut cap, there's going to be bearings inside there. They should be lubricated. Over time, that lubrication can wear out or even get contaminated. By taking everything apart and then putting it back together, you could move something around and it might not like it very much. When you're replacing only the strut, typically you're also going to have some specialty tools. Now you can go ahead and get yourself some tools that look a little bit like this. Overall, these are fairly simple to use, but in my opinion, they're a little bit dangerous. Most automotive shops are going to have a much larger tool. It has a spring compressor on it, holds everything safely for you. It's not necessarily something that you're going to have in your own driveway to be able to use to do this job though. Now I want to talk to you about when you order a complete strut assembly as a pair. Now overall, as you can tell, this has all brand new parts. It has the brand new strut, it has a brand new coil spring, and it has the brand new cap up along the top, which has bearings inside. All the hard work's done, and you don't need any specialty tools. Using some basic tools and a little bit of common knowledge, you should be good to go. And of course, make sure you order them as a pair. Something else to think about is the front of your car drives down the same exact road as the back of your car. So if you find that you have an issue with your front struts, you need to make sure you pay double attention to the rear shocks or struts as well. Any bump you hit with the front could potentially be hit with the rear, and it's causing wear and tear. So make sure you save yourself a whole bunch of time and money and order everything all at once from 1AAuto.com. Okay friends, at this point, I pretty much told you everything that I want to say about replacing either your strut or your complete strut assemblies. Whatever you decide, make sure you replace them as a pair. If you do the driver's side, you need to make sure you replace the passenger side at the same time. Now, I hope you liked the video. I hope you found it a little interesting. If there's something in this video that you found was interesting and you think you want to share it with somebody, go ahead and share it with them. It would mean everything to me. If you like the video or even love the video, go ahead and smash on the like button for me. It would mean the world. While you're at it, go ahead and subscribe, ring the bell. That way there you, all of your friends, can be kept up with all of our latest content. Thanks.
What's that noise?
So now we can talk about the street. And trying to replace miscellaneous. Especially.
There you go. Good.
Especially.
You're good. Got it.
Especially. Comfort is up there on the job responsibilities. I don't want to keep rambling. I just wanted it to be poof.